Imagine a continent that is almost entirely underwater, hidden from the eyes of the world for centuries. A continent that is larger than India, but only a fraction of it is visible above the waves. A continent that has a rich and diverse history, geology, and biology, but is still largely unexplored and mysterious. This is not a fantasy or a legend. This is Zealandia. Zealandia is a long, narrow microcontinent that is mostly submerged in the South Pacific Ocean. A microcontinent is a land mass that has broken off from a main continent. Zealandia broke off from Antarctica about 100 million years ago, and then from Australia about 80 million years ago. Zealandia is about half the size of Australia, but only 7% of it is above sea level. Most of that terrestrial and makes up the two large islands of the country of New Zealand, the North Island and the South Island. Stewart Island, just south of the South Island, and many smaller islets are also a part of Zealandia. New Caledonia, a collection of islands governed by France, makes up the northern tip of Zealandia. The existence of Zealandia was first recorded in 1642 by Dutch businessman and sailor Abel Tasman, who was on a mission to find the Great Southern Continent, or Terra Australis. While Tasman failed to find this new land, he did encounter the local Maori when he landed on the southern island of New Zealand. Despite their hostility towards him, the Maori provided valuable information about the surrounding land mass, including the existence of a large land mass to the east. However, it would take nearly 400 years for scientists to agree on the existence of Zealandia. Zealandia was originally part of the ancient supercontinent of Gondwana, which was formed about 550 million years ago and essentially lumped together all the land in the southern hemisphere. It occupied a corner on the eastern side, where it bordered several others, including half of West Antarctica and all of eastern Australia. So how did Zealandia go missing for so long? Well, it's not that it was completely unknown to humans. The islands of New Zealand and New Caledonia have been inhabited for thousands of years by various Polynesian peoples, who had their own names and stories for the land. The first Europeans to encounter Zealandia were Dutch explorers in the 17th century, who named it after their province of Zealand. But for a long time, Zealandia was not recognized as a distinct continent by geologists. It was considered either a collection of continental fragments or a submerged extension of Australia. It was not until 1995 that a geophysicist named Bruce Luyendyk proposed the name and concept of Zealandia as a separate continental entity. Since then, more evidence has emerged to support Zealandia's continental status. For example, satellite imagery shows that Zealandia has a distinct crustal thickness and density from the surrounding oceanic crust. A 2021 study suggests that Zealandia is 1 billion years old, about twice as old as geologists previously thought. And in 2017, an international team of scientists conducted an expedition to map and sample Zealandia's underwater features. What they found was a fascinating diversity of geological formations and biological life forms. They discovered mountains, volcanoes, coral reefs, fossils, and even traces of ancient forests that once grew on Zealandia when it was above water. They also found that Zealandia is rich in mineral deposits and natural gas fields, which could have economic and environmental implications for the future. Asterisk. But what about Zealandia's climate and biodiversity? How does it compare to other continents? Well, Zealandia generally enjoys a mild, temperate climate. Its largest islands have glaciers, the largest being Tasman Glacier on the South Island. Activity from the last glacial period also carved out many fjords and valleys. The tropical climate of New Caledonia, on the other hand, has more in common with Oceania and the South Pacific. Zealandia is home to many unique plants and animals that evolved in isolation from other continents. Some examples are the kiwi, a flightless bird that is the national symbol of New Zealand; the tuatara, a reptile that resembles a lizard but belongs to an ancient lineage; and the kauri, a giant coniferous tree that can live for thousands of years. New Caledonia also boasts a high level of endemism, meaning many species are found nowhere else in the world. But Zealandia's history is not only about nature. It is also about culture and politics. Zealandia has been the site of many human conflicts and struggles, from the wars between the indigenous Maori and the European colonizers, to the movements for independence and autonomy in New Caledonia and other islands. Zealandia has also been a source of inspiration and creativity for many artists, writers, and filmmakers who have portrayed its beauty and diversity in various forms of media. Zealandia is now recognized as the world's 8th continent, but its unique characteristics make it stand out from the other continents on the planet. Nick Mortimer, the geologist who led the study, noted that every other continent is home to multiple countries, while Zealandia has only 3 territories. Despite its underwater location, Zealandia is an important discovery that sheds light on the Earth's geological history and the forces that shape the planet as we know it today. Zealandia is still largely unexplored and holds many secrets waiting to be uncovered. It is a reminder that our planet is constantly changing and evolving, and that there are still amazing discoveries to be made. As we learn more about Zealandia, we also learn more about ourselves and our place in the world. Zealandia is not just a continent. It is a story that is still being written. Stay tuned in next time for more exciting stories from our wonderful world. In and out, covered.